Welcome to the Pooch Parenting Podcast, a podcast for parents with dogs. I'm Michelle Stern, a certified professional dog trainer, mom, and former teacher. Living with kids and dogs at the same time can feel like a circus. I know because I lived it too. Join us as we interview a variety of experts and parents to discuss topics that will make parenting with dogs easier, safer, and less chaotic. Also, you can love living with your dog again. I'll always keep it real, which might even mean that you hear the messiness of life in the background on occasion, but at least you know you're not alone. When my dad called the other day and left me a message about a movie he saw on Netflix, I smiled and thought, not sure I want to watch another dog movie, because usually they either upset me because they're sad, or they depict something traumatic, or something terrible happens to the dog in the end, or maybe the dogs are treated poorly or set the poor example for the audience. But I have to admit that I did give in, and I watched the movie Rescued by Ruby on Netflix with my son and loved it. And I texted my dad right away and said, "Thank you, you were right. As usual, I did love the movie." So what about the movie was appealing? What did I like about the movie, and was there anything that I disliked about it? Well, I have to say I was super pleasantly surprised. This is a truly family-friendly movie. It's rated G, so you can watch it with your kids. It is a beautiful story about a state trooper named Dan, and he really wants to be in a canine search and rescue unit with the state police. And he has tried 7 times and failed. And finally, he decides to rescue a dog and try out again. And the reason he rescued a dog is because he and the police department could not afford a really expensive imported German Shepherd, which is what they typically use in their department. And so instead, he found out that as long as he had a dog who was pretty eager to learn and had a lot of energy and was pretty intelligent, that he could try out with any dog. So it turns out that he rescues the dog at just the right time. She's kind of on her last legs. She's been returned over and over and over again over the course of 6 months for unruly, naughty behavior. And he loves her, and he adopts her and brings her home. Well, he does find out that she is a challenge to work with, and yet he still tries really hard and tries to figure out what's going to motivate her. I'm not going to tell you the whole story. It is a true story, by the way. But I do want to let you know there are a few components to it that I am in love with. Number one, his wife is a young, maybe preschool teacher. She's adorable and lovely, and she recognizes that certain people and dogs can have learning differences, and that ADHD is not a curse, nor is dyslexia. And she's willing to go above and beyond to support her husband and this dog, because they need to essentially work with the traits that they're given, right? What they say is, what I see is what I get, right? And so as long as they can give this dog structure and stability, they both believe that they can help Ruby blossom into who she's meant to be. And nobody's really given her that opportunity yet. And so he learns about positive reinforcement dog training. They love the idea, with his wife as an educator and him just as a super nice guy, that they can use rewards to motivate the dog to make good choices and repeat more behavior that is rewarded. And so he learns to use clicker training, and he comes up with all sorts of strategies to get Ruby excited to do canine search and scent detection work in his backyard. His whole police department is super supportive of him. They really like this guy because he's lovely and he has just such a purity of spirit and such good intentions. And so this story is a really great one for families, for kids of all ages. It's about the strength of the human spirit, the strength of dog spirit, the benefits of positive reinforcement dog training, where you can really set clear expectations and clarity, both for the dog, but as well as for the human handler. And it touches on a very real issue, which is that a lot of dogs in shelters are there because they're misunderstood. They're there because they have so much energy, such high drive, and the average pet parent has no idea how to cope with a dog who can be so poorly behaved. It's also a great story because it talks about some of the traits that actual scent detection dogs require. These working dogs are actually working dogs, and they have a very high drive. They need to be motivated to work and do a job. And this dog, who failed in so many homes, never really had the opportunity to focus on something and to use that energy in a productive way. And so Dan gives Ruby a job to do, and she thrives while doing it in that structure. So it's just the loveliest story. I highly recommend it. I've never done a movie review before, so I hope I didn't ruin it for you. But I just wanted to give the producers and the writers of this story, even though it was a true story, they still were able to capture it in such a lovely life lesson sort of way. And I would highly recommend it for you if you are a dog lover, for your kids if they're dog lovers. It sets a really super example for how to be persistent, how to stick with it when things feel hard, and how to reward behavior you like, because that will get you more of it. I hope you enjoy the movie. Take care. See you next time. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the Pooch Parenting Podcast on the podcast app of your choice. For ongoing support, get on the waitlist for the Pooch Parenting Society, where I share training tips, activities, and coaching so families with dogs can live in harmony. By signing up at safekidsanddogs.com, you'll be the first to know when I open registration again for new members.